Right, the next thing we're going to go through when we're picking the perfect property for a specific area is the optimal size and quality property. Now, I'll run through this quick diagram, which will be very clear for you to understand how spending over in a certain area is not going to get you more rental yield evaluation. And I learned this the hard way, so I'll give you that again. So, if we look at this, if we look at size and quality. So this axis, we've got rent and valuation. And this, we've got size and quality. If we keep increasing the size and quality of a property in a specific area, the rent and valuation gets to the point where it caps out. Doesn't matter if you make the thing 3 times bigger, it just doesn't equate equally to the amount of size and quality. So if we think about an example that I had, and I learned this really early days, and this is why this is so important. If we go into the Open Corp office, often you'll see that we don't allow the builders to design our homes. We design specific homes for that specific area based on the individual client. Now you'll often see our team in the office, and some of the girls love doing this exercise, and they're absolute experts at it, is designing internally the best functionality for a home, which allows good size, but reduces extra size built. So if I use a really basic example, if we have a dining room chair and a table, and you've got an extra 1.5 meters at the back of it, or if you can bring that in 1 meter and still have ample room to walk past, it still feels roomy enough. If we can save 1 meter, this is a really raw example. If we can save 1 meter by the home being 20 meters long, that's around $20,000 worth of savings. The home's still functionally around. Tenants rent bedrooms, they don't rent media rooms or large lounge rooms, they rent bedrooms. So that's what gets you the rental yield. But if we can save $20,000 and put it to the deposit of our next property, we can duplicate faster. Now people often say, when they're looking at that designing, well, maybe I want it a bit bigger. If I was living in, I wouldn't mind a media room. Think about it, if it's not getting you any more in valuation or rent, then really it's like taking $20,000 out of the bank, bringing it over and putting it in a steel rubbish bin and setting it on fire. It sounds pretty bad when you put it like that, but that's what you're doing with your money if you don't get the optimal size and quality. People often talk about over-capitalising, but they don't know what the hell they mean by it. This is teaching you to ensure you're capitalising at the perfect level for any property in a specific area. The hard way I learned it really quickly was when Felicity and I were, she was 19 and I was 22, 23, and the 19-year-old just hooked up with this boyfriend from the country. He came down, he was a property investor, and talked her into buying her first investment property without her dad's blessing or knowledge. So we went home, talked to Pete, get along with him now, but it took about a year for him to speak to me after this. Said to Pete, look, Felicity bought an investment property. After he picked his jaw off the ground and gathered himself, after about 15 minutes, he started asking questions about it. I said, actually, it's not just an investment property, we're putting 4 units on the back of it, so we're doing development. So he's a young guy, he's been going with a girl for a period of time. I knew her for a fair while, so they put in the friend zone, so we were friends for a while, then going out. But talked his 19-year-old daughter into not only buying investment, but to buy a unit development. Now the problem and mistake I made, which ended up being all right, but taught me this lesson, a valuable lesson, which is seen me well over the next 20 years and ensured our clients get the best property every time. Being young, and I've done a lot of development at this stage, I'd started pretty early. You go to your draftsman, and in the past I've just been doing dual locks or triarchs, and you try and cram something onto the back block. In this instance, we went and said, we've got 2,600 square meters. The drafty, they're proud, they love drawing big boxes, designed the units on the back, the townhouses, which were too big for that specific area. They had gone up in size, but they weren't getting more in valuation. Going up in size meant that the development at that point in time was going to cost about $160,000 more than I would get in equal value. So I think we bought that property for 370 grand at the time. We sold it with plans and permits, we didn't build them, for 512, if my memory serves me correctly. So we did all right at it. So the biggest property mistake I made, we made 100 or so grand, but it taught me one of the most valuable lessons, and a lesson that has ensured our clients don't overcapitalise. So I've gone into a bit today, but this is a specific area I'm pretty happy about. Now, I think my father-in-law works for me, he's a good guy, we'll get along all right, so don't fear it.